Hey, it's Scott Fox here with an expert website video review from my friend Randall and his website here, StockInvestingSimplified.com. It's time to talk about Randall's website and what he can do to improve his sales. He wrote in because he's a member of Click Millionaires Masterminds, my private coaching forum, and as part of the Website Tune-Up Community Clinic, he's gotten a ton of helpful feedback already from our members from all over the world. Now, the grand finale is me. I'm going to add a video here where we talk about the website and what he can do to change things up a bit to improve his sales. So Randall wrote in and gave me some details about his concerns, and we set this up in the forum over the last couple weeks, and now I'm going to go through here and see what I can add to the mix. His concern is that StockInvestingSimplified.com isn't signing up quite enough people. He's looking for lead generation using the sign-up boxes that you can see. There's one here, and we've got one over here as well. The goal is eventually and essentially to sell a DVD home study program. And of course, he's converting over from DVDs to digital delivery soon as well. So this is time for a refresh, basically. So Randall's looking for some advice on how we can update this site. So here's what I think, Randall. Let's see what we can figure out together. Now, my job here is to pick on you a little bit. So, of course, you can take from this what is useful to you and throw out the rest. Everybody's got a different opinion. Websites are as much art as commerce. So if there's something I say that you disagree with, well, it's your business, my friend. But here are my thoughts, what you asked me for. The site in general is nice and clean. I like the large amount of white space. It looks professional, but it does look a couple years old. Now, a lot of my websites do this too. It's hard to keep them updated and looking super fresh, but since you asked, I think you're right. I think it could use some cleanup, and what I'd really like to talk about today is how I think you could focus it better to increase the leads you generate and therefore increase your sales. So let's start at the top. In the forum, people were agreeing that the layout was nice. It looks like this is a thesis framework for WordPress. The layout makes sense, more or less, but I think we're going to want to rearrange some things, and most particularly I want to home in on the phrase that you used. You said in your email, distracting graphic elements and layout of the lead capture. Those are the 2 points I agree that do need the most attention. Reiterating distracting graphic elements. Okay, we'll talk about some distracting graphic elements. Lots of different graphics competing here. And then the layout for the lead capture. I agree. So let's talk from the top. The logo, okay, not bad. I like the bold black text and the red symbol. I like that part. This chart thing, okay, somebody in the forum said it looked like clip art. Unfortunately, I at least more than half agree with them. So I might think about modernizing this a little bit. I do think also, someone else, I think it was Nate, said that these two are competing with each other. You've got this empowering you to be a better investor, which is kind of a nice tagline, and this stock market ticker, and this graphic setup is kind of competing with this, and you've got a lot of words here. So I think I would kind of pick one theme, at least in the header, and stick with that rather than trying to bounce people around words, because these words aren't even really selling, right? This is not even your sales copy. This is all just kind of your attempt at branding. And I don't think you need to do all that because you really want to focus them. And that's what I really want to talk about today that I think could help you a lot, is focusing this page. Now let's run down a little further. We've got a menu here, and normally that makes sense, but here I don't think it does, and I'll tell you why in a second. You've got a video view, which is nice, although as several people pointed out, and I have to agree, you can see here 14 minutes, 38 seconds. That's a long video. That's long enough to be actual content, right? Like this review is going to be 14 minutes because this is something that you really are engaging with. This is essentially the final product. More than 14 and a half minutes, that's really long for a sales video. Honestly, long enough that I didn't watch the whole thing. It's done well, what I watched, but I think that's more than you need. The person is either interested or they're not. You've got, I'd say, 90 seconds for them to really be in or out. Probably more like 20 seconds. But if you can get them to stay to 90 seconds, you might get them to 3 minutes or 6 minutes. 14 minutes, I doubt it. So I would think about chopping this down by way more than half and putting a strong call to action at the end of it that drives them towards your lead generation. And that's really what I gather is the focus of this page. Layout-wise, I also wanted to point out, you have some sales copy here, but it's way overwhelmed by all these competing headlines. You've got a red headline here, a black one here, you've got a bunch of arrows here, you've got a blue headline up here, a larger, similar font, but bolder here. So this stuff, which is actually what if I was arriving on this page I would be most interested in seeing, is really overwhelmed. So I think you need to think about prioritizing this page. And then you have benefits down here. So this also is what I'd be looking for. What you've got mixed in is Meet Randall, that's good. I'll talk about that in a second. But you've got two competing offers, and it's not clear to me whether, as some other folks said in the forum, are you pushing this ebook, or are you pushing the DVDs, or are you pushing this video about finding great stocks? It's very confusing, honestly. You come in and I've got two different signups, neither of which seems to address the featured product, and they look like they have the same sign up, so I'm guessing they go the same place. You're probably not running two leads off here, two lists off of this, but maybe you are. And if I was someone new here, I would be confused. Okay, do I want this? Okay, I like this guy, you know, handsome guy, he sounds smart. I watched the video. Do I want this ebook? Is this what I want? Or is it this thing? You know, but what I really want, he convinced me in the video, was this thing. But neither of these seems to mention that. So anyway, I think you get the point. I would pick one offer and beat it to death. Okay, let's focus this down. If this is truly a lead generation page, which I think it is, then what you most want above all, even more than sales, is to capture that contact information. So I would figure out what's your best offer. And yeah, the placement is okay. I mean, I like this placement. That's good. It could be even higher because I don't think you need this, to be honest. And then you repeat it over here. Having two of them, especially since they're both vertical like this, you know, they're really competing. Maybe you have the one up in the upper right corner there, and then the other one maybe could be horizontal lower on the page if you wanted to reiterate. But I think they should be the same message, or at least they offer eventually the same thing. So you can get another video here about how to generate consistent monthly returns, but the thing you get right away maybe is the ebook of the cash flow from stocks. Like one, you get this right away, and then you get a follow-up series. And I think that makes sense because you've implied here with, you've got next, you're implying a series, and it's training, right? This is a training series. So I think you want to unify this offer and say, this stuff is marvelous. Start by getting the free ebook, and then we'll follow up with a series of training videos, all free. And of course, those videos are at least 50% training, hopefully more, and some amount of upsell as well. So you can automate this, as you said, through Aweber using autoresponders, just like the ones I use. And you could address these people over time repeatedly on an automated basis. I think that's what you're groping towards, and that's what I would do anyway. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I would do. I would pick one offer, make it clear, concise, like this. You don't need to say by entering your name and email below. I think that's kind of a given these days. Several people in the forum were complaining about the big red hand-drawn arrows too. And that's more a style thing. That's kind of up to you and your designer, I guess. They kind of work for me because they really do draw your eye. But maybe some, you know, shiny, nicely polished, photoshopped arrows instead of the squiggly hand-drawn ones would be better. It's kind of up to you. That's a design question as much as anything. And I'm here to talk more about functionality. So functionality-wise, what I'd like to see is a good video that's short, one clear lead generation offer that leads to them signing up to your list, and perhaps teases this product now. And of course, you'd like to be able to sell that directly if they're perhaps visiting again. You want them to be able to find that quickly. But as far as I can tell, this isn't even linked, which is a big no-no, right? This is your featured product. It doesn't even have a link. And then I would want to see more, like I said, I would like more about this, and then the benefits down here, this stuff, and then more about you. If I'm going to pay for stock market advice, I'd like to know what's unique about this stock market advice. There's a lot of stock market advice out there, and I'd also like to know more about this guy, and we'll click through and talk about that in a second. But I'd like to see, why should I listen to Randall? He's a nice-looking guy, but what does that do for me, right? Is he a known investment guru? Has he written some books? Has he consistently demonstrated a 10% plus return? Does he have a specialty in small caps or foreign emerging markets? Or, you know, why? Why Randall? Why now? Why here? And that was part of the problem I had with some of these benefits. Build your wealth. Well, that seems pretty generic. Generate cash flow. That's a little better because I think you're doing probably a covered call or put strategy. Is that what this is an option writing strategy, I'm guessing? Boost your confidence. Well, that's nice, but that sounds like almost any ad, right? Saving yourself time and frustration. Well, that again, that applies to anything. Not a get-rich-quick scheme. Okay, that's good. A complete investment system. Here we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bullets before you use the word investment. So my point is, if this is targeting entirely people who are entirely new to stock market investing, which you said do-it-yourself novice stock investors, okay? If they're really new, then maybe boosting your confidence is a key selling point. That could be, because I'm certainly not a novice stock market investor. I used to work on Wall Street myself, so I'm not your target here. But it seems to me that these bullets in your copy could be more precise about, I don't know, just putting in enough words that made this sound real, like generating cash flow by innovative options strategies. All right, that to me as a more experienced person would be like, oh, okay, interesting, options. Okay, at least he knows about options. That tells me there's some credibility here. It's not so generic as generate cash flow. And using some of those buzzwords, I mean, you don't probably want to give away too many of your secrets right here, but I think this is just so generic, it's almost not helpful and distracting to me. And that was the word you used in your email to me, distracting, and I agree. So, back to the top. Now I want to be more specific. I'd get rid of this menu. Talk about distracting. This page, I think, needs to be slimmed down a lot. Like I said, one video, some bullet points, and a lead generation capture. If that's what you're really after, then do it. You are experiencing here, what I'm seeing an increasing amount of online, is that people, they really want a lead or they want a sale. They want one thing, but they get charmed by all the possibilities, or maybe their designers charm them, I don't know, or they look to competition, people with much bigger wallets and development teams who put up all kinds of stuff. But you don't need to do that. You really only have one offer here, as far as I can tell. Well, you've got a couple of little ones, but they all feed into a funnel where you're trying to get leads to sell your coaching program, or maybe some consulting services. But it's 90% one thing. If that's the case, this page only needs to do one thing, and that is get people's attention, which you're doing here. I mean, this is a decent headline. We can talk about copywriting more in the forum at Masterminds if you'd like. We can help you pump this up, of course. And all of this, of course, we can talk about more at Masterminds if you'd like, okay? Because we can work through all this in more detail. And we do clinics on copywriting, headline writing, everything, domain names, logos, whatever you want. We'll help you work through this. But the top line is, I think you need to focus the headline and everything else to drive towards this email box. And I think, like I said, one here might be okay, and then maybe a second one down here. But a page these days does not need all this if it's trying to sell something. You don't need contact us and blog and coaching a DVD program and about, at least not here. You could put them across the bottom maybe in the footer if people want to contact you, and sometimes people do, that's fine. But right here, when I land on the page, the first thing I do is I start reading. Stock investing, empowering you. I'm reading left to right. Typical eye tracking patterns make an F formation. So I will come in at the top, and the person reads across the top, and then they read down the left. You don't have a left side navigation, so they're going to start reading across here, and they're going to read this stuff, and they're going to start getting distracted. And they're going to go places like some of these interior pages you have, like this one. Here's an overview, but there isn't even a buy button on this page, my friend. What am I supposed to do with this page? Say I'm convinced, right? Here's another 8-minute, almost 9-minute video. What am I supposed to do with this? You want to capture the information, right? So this lead generation form needs to be here. It needs to be on every page. But my point really, and by the way, the menu up here at the top has changed, which is very confusing. It makes the whole site look a little shifty. But my point is you want to eliminate distractions and only give them one route to go. As an example, here's this page. This is the expert website reviews page that you've seen yourself in signing up for this expert website review. Now, this is not a perfect page by any means. I did this several years ago. I haven't updated it, blah, blah, blah. But it does do one thing, which I think is correct. There is no call to action here. You notice there's no menu. There's nothing to do. There's a couple of videos to watch to convince you. There's one call to action right there. Book your website here now. Pay for it. I'm not even trying to build a list. This is a single-purpose page that only has one call to action. And it's very clear that if someone comes in and they buy all my other copy up here, if they buy my stuff, I mean, the concepts that I'm expressing in these videos, there's only one action to take. Now, I have other lists and stuff, so this isn't a apples-to-apples comparison necessarily. But the point is, one thing. No menus, nothing else going on, no distraction except that one thing. And that's what I think you need to do. Your videos, everything here should point towards, and it can be fine. It's fine up here, and then again at the bottom. And you could put a lot more copy in, I think. People argue a lot about whether sales pages should be short or long. Well, you can see that one. That's kind of in between. I think too short isn't enough. Because if a person doesn't want to read, they're just going to leave anyway. But if they want to read, if they want to scroll down, read some more, read some more, read some more, they're convincing themselves, at least in my mind. And then you have a buy button at the bottom. And of course, you can put some in between along the way. I could show you some others, but I don't want to, that I've done, or anybody else has done. But you get the idea. You can have them opt out at any time, either by leaving or by taking the action you want. And you've done a pretty good job here of the call to action, but you need that to be more clear and to only have one of them. That's what I'm really after, to only have one of them. Next, let's see. Let's talk about your About page. The About page is nice. This is nice enough. Again, I don't see any numbers. You're trying to sell stock market stuff, man. I think you need some percentages, right? How much have you helped people earn? How many billions of dollars of trades have you done, or millions in assets that you have managed? I mean, some awards you've won. This is all very vague, at least to me. As a high-performance stock investing trainer, okay, that's good. You've always been a big advocate, okay, that's nice. There's nothing really hard-hitting here. This is the best one I could find, the winner of local and national teaching awards. Like what? You're kind of begging more questions than you're answering to me. Also, while we're here, I want to pick on you a little bit. Please don't take this personally. I think this photo needs to be updated. I don't know what the styles are like up in Manitoba these days, but I would guess that at least in Southern California, where our fashions are probably different, this picture would be at least 10 years old, maybe 15. Pleated pants and a buttoned-up shirt all the way. This style, baggy sort of slacks and stuff, this to me says late 90s. Maybe that's not fair, but depending again on who you're targeting, that can make a real difference. I gather you're targeting more men than women, so maybe they're not picky, but since you asked, I'm telling you, I think the photos need updating. Somebody in the forum also pointed out that white on white isn't doing you any favors. You're a nice-looking guy. You could do better. Put on something that stands out a little better. And then, of course, whether you like this sort of cutout style of you standing there or not is a style thing. Some of the people in the forum didn't buy it. It's okay with me, and I do that sometimes too. It's actually easy to take. If you have had a photo shoot done, you can cut yourself out, drop things into the page easily. I understand why you do that. It's hard to get a background to match, so I sympathize. It looks okay to me, but I think the look could use some updating. I'm sorry if that's seems like a personal comment, but you asked, so here we go. Okay, next. Okay, we talked about this page. The video seems fine, but it doesn't have any call to action, and I got lost. See, the menu disappeared. What else we got here? Okay, now the coaching. This was interesting, but it didn't have any real call to action other than a contact us page, which you already have a contact us link. So if you want to sell coaching, I think that's fine. Maybe it's a box on the home page down the bottom, below the other stuff, or a link below the other stuff. But here you're not really saying a whole lot that couldn't be said here. In other words, I would merge these two pages or at least deprioritize them, unless this is a big business for you, in which case I would spell it out. What do you talk about? Your elite one-on-one coaching program, about what? What are we talking about? Is it options? Is it futures? Is it precious metals? Again, I'm a sophisticated investor, but to me, I need more details. Then the blog. The blog looked pretty good to me. It looked nice, but again, I think it is distracting. You don't need a blog if you're just trying to capture leads. The blog can be fine if you just link to it from the bottom of the page. I think that's enough. You're very fond of stock photos, which are cute, I guess, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of personality to it. This interview in particular, I couldn't find a date on it. So whenever you have investment information, I would sure like to know how old this is. If this is advice from 2003, not as impressive to me, right? And so forth. And some of these, I guess if you're going to blog, I would do it seriously and regularly. And then here you have a different promo than you had on the homepage. Generate consistent monthly cash flow. Nice graphic, but completely different branding than you're using on the homepage. So I would sort of unify that, and I would have the entry boxes for the email collection right here. I mean, they should be on every page. They're far more important than this graphic that you have, and I think that needs to be everywhere. And where the blog integrates to the rest of the site, I think I see them as kind of two separate things. And there might even be three separate things here. One is the lead capture page we're talking about. I think that needs to be long and vertical and to the point. This is it. Get in the list now. Then there might be a broader site that's linked out of the footer, which includes the links that you've got here, your About, your DVD program, coaching options, etc., etc. And then the blog is a third section, which is as you have it now, but I don't think it should be in the top menu because I don't think anybody's going to be coming to this site, let me say more specifically, to this site to read your blog. They found this because you are hoping to rope them into being on your contact list to sell them the coaching program or the DVD sets, whatever your primary product is. So the blog is a distraction. So the blog should be sort of separate and outside, helping your search engine optimization, bringing new customers in to find the blog and then get led to the lead capture page, right? So that my point is the blog doesn't need to have prime real estate on the lead capture page because it's a one-way ticket. People come to the blog to get to the lead capture page. They shouldn't be coming to the lead capture page and going to the blog. That's hurting your funnel, your sales funnel. Okay? So there's a whole bunch of stuff. I hope that that's helpful to you. I noticed also, we just wanted to point out, you did have social media down here. I think that's about the right level for it. I would not indulge in making that a bigger deal. If somebody has gotten this far, then you don't want to distract them and send them off to LinkedIn or YouTube. I would put those down in the footer or over here in the lower right-hand corner is fine. Again, those things are outposts of yours. You want to use those to attract and drive traffic to the lead page, not to have people land on the lead page and then go to YouTube, right? It should be one-way traffic, and that's what I think social media is best for. So I would continue to low prioritize that as you have done correctly. So I hope that that's helpful for you, Randall. This is a rather strategically repositioning sort of idea for you, and I hope that that's what you're after, because that's what these expert website reviews are for. We're not just talking about fonts and things like that. This is a business overview, and I hope that the service from expertwebsitereviews.com has been helpful to you. And if you'd like a review like this for yourself, well, come on over to Masterminds and join us at the Click Millionaires Masterminds Forum, and I'll be happy to help you out with one of these, as well as one of the fantastic website tune-up community clinics that our community is, where all our members contribute free information and free feedback for you, just like Randall got. Plus, this video at the end. And if you're in a hurry, of course, you can come to expertwebsitereviews.com and just order one. So I hope that's helpful to you, and especially to my friend Randall. If you're looking to learn about the stock market and learning to get your investment portfolio going, it looks like Randall's the guy here at StockInvestingSimplified.com. Thanks for watching.